Good evening, viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth. And I am Pastor Forbes from Abiding Word Ministries. And lest I forget, let me start wishing us all Merry Christmas ahead of time, because in my counting, we're just about 12 days to Christmas Day. I am certainly aware, as everybody in the Gambia, and anybody who is taking interest in what's happening in our country is also aware that we are at some kind of a crossroad, some kind of an impasse, and a situation which calls for us all to look into it and get the way forward, which is simple because it's the way that God has already designed for us. And by the grace of God, I am 52 years old and 1 month, and so I am a First Republic, pre-independence baby, having been born in 1964. And I am aware that present President Yahya Jammeh and President-Elect Adama Barrow were both born in 1965. I think President-Elect Barrow was born in February and President Jammeh in May. And that means that both of them have an awesome responsibility and historical privilege that will give them both a legacy which would last for a long time. And so I want to bring my input on this, trusting that it would help us all and it would give us a proper focus, albeit a divine and national focus, in the words of our national anthem, for the common good. A couple of years ago, before I turned 50, I met a man who became a friend personally to me and a friend to our church. And he introduced me to an organization which he belongs to. It's an all-men's organization, albeit Christian organization. And the import of that organization is that they have divided their lives basically in two halves, from birth up to when you are 50. And they call that the period or the season of security, when you want to go out there and get it and make sure you probably get married, have children, build a house or houses, get a business, get a franchise, be entrepreneurial, get your degrees, do something, and be called and counted as a man amongst men. And then in this organization, when you turn 50 and you go upwards, you move from security to significance. So your first 50 years are your period of security. You want to make sure people know you are there. And but after 50, their understanding is that if you live to 100, you are a centurion and you have or centenarian, and you have made life. And so 50 therefore becomes the top of the hill that you were struggling to get to, doing everything that you did, mistakes and all included. And then when you get to 50, you start coming down. That 50 and above is the season of your significance. In other words, it's a legacy season. A pastor friend of mine calls it the season of legacy. That is when two things happen. One, you begin to self-inspect. You begin to look at your life, irrespective of where you have lived your life, because individually, we are all people. People know me as Pastor Forbes. Some people call me senior pastor. Some people even call me daddy, and people call you all kinds of names. When I preach in America, people call me Dr. Forbes. People call you all kinds of things. But I was not born with those titles, because they are nothing but titles. There are appendages and appellations. Some I earned. Some people just give you for their own good or false sense of insecurity, or because they want something for you. But if you let those things cloud you, you forget who you are. Because at the end of the day, when I go to bed at night, each night, I don't sleep as Pastor Forbes or anything. I sleep as Francis Forbes. To my wife, I am a husband. To my father, I am a daughter. To my siblings, I am their only youngest brother. And then to my cousins, I'm their cousin. And to the Gambia, I am a citizen with one vote. And so you begin to look at yourself and ask yourself these questions. What have I done? How have I done it? What legacy am I leaving? It's not what reputation have I gained, good or bad. It's what legacy am I leaving? Because like me, both President-Elect Adama Barrow and sitting President Yahya Jammeh are husbands and fathers. That means they have wives, they have children. And when we think about legacy, we're thinking about things that my daughter, Njilan Forbes, would be able to come to the Gambia if she doesn't reside in the Gambia, and she presently doesn't, and come and walk freely and hear people tell her, you papa make her go school. If not for your dad, my rent was not paid. I am what I am because of your dad today, because of your, and we've all grown like that. We see it with teachers, with doctors, with gynecologists, with all kinds of people, with parents, with godparents. And that's the legacy we want. And that legacy is not so much the things we did as to the integrity of the name that we bore to do the things. That's why the Bible goes like this. In one of the many books in the Bible called Ecclesiastes, it says a good name is better and more precious than things. And anybody that is known for good, he is like somebody whose perfume or fragrance, the scent is so sweet until folly, the Bible calls it folly or foolishness, or maybe a blind spot, caused it all to be spoiled. And the Bible then equates that as to a dead fly or dead flies coming into that perfume box. Obviously, they spoil, they counteract the beautiful fragrance that comes from it. So anything after 50 is my legacy time. So I am in my legacy season, and President Jammeh is in his legacy season. President Adama Barrow, by age, is in his legacy season. So legacy must be beaten in their hearts as to what am I leaving and what am I going to be doing. This is how the Bible puts it in this same book, Ecclesiastes, I just spoke about. Popular scripture, most people know it. If I start it, you will know it. People have even sung songs about it. It goes like this: to everything there is a season, and there is a right time to every purpose under the sun. Then it now reduces it to individual items. There is a time to be born, a time to die, there is a time to laugh, there is a time to cry, there is a time for everything, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time for killing, a time for healing, a time when things break down, a time when things are built up. There's a time to weep, to laugh, to mourn, to dance, to cast away stones, to gather them. There's a time for embracing, there's a time to refrain from embracing, there's a time to gain, there's a time to lose, there's a time to keep. So all these periods are regulated by time. And we are told that it is God that makes weeping or laughing beautiful, because weeping or laughing comes in their proper time. There is a way victory is sweet, and there is also a way that defeat is sweet. There is a way and a time when victory is sweet, and there is a time when defeat is sweet, because in both victory and defeat we learn lessons. The thing about the periods we find ourselves in, there are words I want to use tonight. One of them is called grace. Grace is an unmerited favor that God just gives you because he wants to give you. There's another word that I want to use spiritually. It's called oil. Oil is a divine stamp or smearing that God gives you, that it's an enablement that enables you to function. Without that oil and that grace, everything you do is bad. It's like you have a reverse effect of King Midas. Everything you touch, instead of it becoming gold and instead of it working for everybody, everything you touch, regardless your good intention, just turns out bad. Not because you are bad, not because the thing you are touching is bad, not because your desire to touch the thing is bad, but it's out of its time. So its grace has evaporated. The oil has dried up. The thing that makes it happen, the goodwill of God, and in some cases the goodwill of even the people, is evaporated. I know about 2 weeks ago, somebody very dear and close to my heart passed on. Dear and close to my heart because we shared the same birthday, the late Mrs. Delphine Carroll. We all know as Mrs. Carroll of biology, or Auntie Delphine. and a couple of us share the same birthday, and I was opportune to be at her bedside a day before it appeared that she passed away. But I always remember once when she retired and I was in university and I came back and I went to visit her, and I said to her, Auntie Delphine, why don't you stay on contract? Why don't you stay on? And these were the words Mrs. Carroll of blessed memory said to me. She said, Francis, remember this. You always leave the stage when the ovation is the loudest. In other words, it means people are satisfied with your performance. It's like the forces of nature have conspired to give you thumbs up. The grace is there, the oil is there, a sense of significance, the goodwill of the people. Everything is like you can do no wrong. And then the ovation locally, regionally, globally is there for you. And she said, that is when you must leave, because when you leave, then you have left a legacy. You have left a desire for more of you, and the people start saying more. You see it at a concert, either a military command performance or an operatic performance and a pantomime or something. It's a song in a religious festival, and you finish and people are clapping and they say, more, we want more. Then it means the people are calling for you. And even if you say no, they give you a standing ovation. They say they won't sit down until you come. And if it's the student life, they start singing, all we are saying, give us some more, and then you come back. That shows that the people want you. That is how life must be lived. So I always remember Mrs. Carroll saying that don't wait until the ovation dies down, then the clapping becomes a boo upon your life. Then every good you have done becomes evil. So the grace and the goodwill and the blessing evaporates. And you see, oil that has left a bottle and has been used cannot be regained and rebottled in its original form, because the purpose for which it came, the purpose for which grace came, evaporates. This Bible verse of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 11 says, God makes everything beautiful, nice, sweet in its proper time, which means before its time and after its time, it is not nice. And we need to be able to discern, decipher, weigh, smell, and conclude that the time is not yet or the time is past. And there are all kinds of indices spiritually and in secular life that can tell you when the time is ripe. It's like when the waters break when a baby is about to be born. Or sometimes if there's an overtime, there's an induction, because the doctors say, look, this woman is passing 40 weeks, going to 41 weeks. It's ordinarily this should have happened. Or if for some reason there is an issue going on, then it means that the baby is born premature. And there are all kinds of assistant factors that have to come to stabilize that baby. But the ideal is that everything is made beautiful in their proper time. So for both President-Elect Barrow and sitting President Jammeh, whose legal term expires in January, a sense of destiny must arm them both. For those of us who travel and those of us who are on active social media platforms, this little country of maybe about 30 meters wide and maybe 400 kilometers long, this little country of 2 million people was trending number 5 globally as at Friday, the 2nd of December. And people who were inside and outside this country could tell. There were all kinds, the Washington Post, New York Post, Financial Times, Guardian, all papers, all news networks, all kinds of organizations globally were giving a thumbs up to the Gambia, because that was our moment, that was our hour. Regardless of the journey, we had come to a place where God in his goodness and his mercy had given us thumbs up, and people who didn't know this country, people who didn't know anything, I'm sure people were planning their holidays here, their honeymoons here. There's going to be a case study for transition of power. There's going to be an awesome goodwill for this country. And it appears that we blew it. My deep confidence as a servant of God is that as we all pray, especially those who have the heart of God and pray, that God will give us this second chance. And that's why we have to, in maturity, fairness, do things properly so that God can give us a second chance for all that has happened. In biblical language, it seems as if we missed the day of our visitation. Again, I'm saying that, and I know I am praying. I'm sure many people are praying. There's a lot of goodwill and wish and negotiation and dialogue and all that, so that we just carry on in the right path, because it's God's mercy that has kept us. Elections are over. It's time for us to consolidate our nation and our national gains. With all the heat that came between President-Elect Donald Trump and Mrs. Hillary Clinton, when President-Elect Donald Trump came to make his speech, the first sentence he said was that we owe a whole debt of gratitude to Hillary Clinton. She's fought hard, and he went on and on and on. And the same party people that were booing Hillary were also clapping, because at that point, he is the president of everybody. And at that point, Hillary Clinton concedes, because he is the president. The issue is not the people. It is not Barrow. It is not Jammeh. It is the system. It is the fine-tuning of our democratic life. It is the thing that makes you paint your house every Christmas or every religious feast. You want it to be better. It is the thing that makes you have an annual general meeting, or along the line you have an extraordinary meeting. You recalibrate, you check where the budget lines are. It is the thing that makes every organization or company worth its salt and wants to keep abreast of time and be a master of their craft and be at the top of their game. They invest in two components. One is called M&E, monitoring and evaluating, and the other one is called R&D, research and development, because they can't just sit here. So we are saying that, yes, for the last 5 years, this is how it was with President Jammeh. Some people will clap, some people will not clap. And those who clap maybe know why they clap, and those who do not clap have every right not to clap. And so they go, both people go to the polls to express their desire and express their leanings, and the results come out. The results are not a reflection of whether President Jammeh is hated or loved, or whether President Adama Barrow, who we have not even seen what he's going to do yet, is the best or not. But the people have spoken. It means that we want a better system. So there is an understanding in the mind of President Jammeh that I have done my bit, it's time to leave. And there is an understanding in President Adama Barrow incoming that there is a whole weight of opportunity and responsibility upon me. Can I even deliver? Because I am not just by myself. I am a makeup of 7 parties in their own rights who have come together with different ideologies, but have come together with one purpose. So in our minds as a people, we are fine-tuning. So elections are our evaluation. You did well, you didn't do so well. So if opportunity serves you another time, come, and if you do win, make sure you do better, because the will of the people will have to stand for the cause of their nation. So that's what we all do. In our own small caucus as Abiding Word Ministries, every time we have a major program as a church, we come into evaluation. In fact, in earlier years, we used to call it post-mortem. And somebody told me they don't like the phrase, so I changed it. And after some time, we called it firing squad. Because as people clap for us that we did so well, we always start on time. It was effective, it was efficient. Some people say, wow, look at the decoration, look at the choir, look at this. These people are like that. Are you sure this church is in the Gambia? When people see the photographs. But amongst ourselves, we're going to be unwise to beat ourselves, tap ourselves on the shoulder and say we've done so well. There's no church like Abiding Word. There's nobody like Pastor Forbes. We are the best. When you do that, you're on a slippery slope, especially if your sycophantic followers tell you are like that, because you're not. We are all human as a church, so we come to evaluation. People are saying all was well, but we know that the way we arranged the seating, somebody made a mistake. And maybe everybody's clapping for the choir, but somebody played something wrong. And our doing that is not an indictment on how bad we are. It's our desire to say that next time we are going to do it better. So I believe that our understanding of elections across party lines, religious lines, and political lines must be that we want Gambia to be better. You know, for the next 5 years, it's got to be better. And the other next 5 years, it's got to be better. I even wish we had a system where there was only one term. So it's like it puts pressure. We are going to be better because it's not personal property. It's the bigger nation. Our guest minister that came for our convention that just ended a month ago, the Honorable Bishop Tudor Bismarck, I heard him say once that when you lead a nation, it's like a captain of a ship that has maybe 5,000 containers on this freight liner. And those containers, some are 20 foot, some are 40 feet, some have people's retirement, personal effects, some have people's business, people have planned for Christmas, some are direct importation from people who want certain things, cars and all that. So people's livelihood, their past, their present, their future is all there. So this person who is the captain at the bridge cannot just decide and say, I'm going to turn it like that. Because once he does that, he destroys everybody else's life and livelihood. And it may be a she too and not just a he. And that's why there is a concept we must always maintain, not just in speaking, but it must be manifestly seen to apply. It's called servant leadership. That's what the Lord Jesus Christ gave to us and bequeathed us. That's what he told his disciples when they were beginning to jostle for positions. I want to sit on the right, I want to sit on the left, I want to be vice president, I want to be speaker, I want to be permanent rep, I want to be that. He said, no. That's not how it's done. If you want to be at the top, you must go to the bottom. You must serve. If we cannot see a servant heart in you, then there is a problem. Whether you win, you must be a servant. Whether you lose, especially if you lose, you must be a servant and thank the people for the opportunity that they accorded you and contribute to the ongoing continuity of this great ship called the nation. And you know, life is very strange for all of us. About a month ago, I saw some people with a placard. I don't know whether it was a Photoshop or true. Some people placarding that they want President Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan back. That's them. Maybe they are seeing that what they thought and what they now see is different. People are like that. I also have seen a picture where I think 2 or 3 years ago, Senegal had some water problem for about 2 weeks. And the Senegalese were Maki defa dem, Maki warna dem, sonana ak Maki. They have a right to say that because to them, when Maki is on that chair, when Buhari is on that chair, when Barrow sits on that chair, Jammeh is on the chair now, and whoever comes to that chair, they do not come to rest on their oars. They have to work because the people put demands because you sit there representing their ideals. If I turn to my children and say to them, you know, this Christmas is going to be great, I'm saying that because I'm expecting that, you know, electricity will be there, water will be there, the internet will flow, we can talk to our family members, wish each other Merry Christmas. I don't want to be able to tell them that then I'm in pitch blackout and I'm fetching water with a jerry can on my head. So there must be a sense of understanding that we hand over the baton and we move on, and we cannot be permanent. And we must not even desire to be permanent. It gets boring for some time. You know, a friend of mine said to me last month in November, Pastor Forbes, I went to your church and you were not in town, and somebody was preaching, and I think he was preaching better than you. And I turned to her, I said, it means my retirement age is coming close. Because I don't want to preach until they have to hold me for me to speak. I want to enjoy my life. I'm in my period of significance, my legacy time. So I don't want to go until when they say Pastor Forbes is preaching, everybody say, oh, Lord have mercy. I don't want to do that. So in other words, I must know that I am not permanent. I am a husband. I am a father. So there must be a legacy. My wife must be able to be happy. My children must be able to be happy. But as we are now where we are as a nation, I think to the nation, we are now beginning to see that leadership is not child's play. Leadership is tough. And every leader will tell you that it's a lonely road. Because as one of the global gurus on leadership, John Maxwell, says, everything falls and rises on leadership. You know, I think everybody in this country is on social media, and you hear people expressing themselves on video clips, and you hear language that you don't want to hear again in your life, and you hear all kinds of things. That is just because of leadership. That's because of leadership. That's the price we all pay. And I just wish that both men will understand that, because one is in a position where his term is finishing, and another one is in a position where it's now his turn with a whole lot of expectation. I am trusting that President Jammeh will find time to personally take stock of his stewardship of our country and of his personal stewardship of his life. That is very good, because in his future endeavors, whatever he does, he has to make peace with himself, his conscience, his family, his party, his government, the Gambian people, and most especially God. And wherever he has gone wrong, and certainly he has, make amends and ask for forgiveness. I also wish that President-Elect Barrow will start taking stock of himself, because he's coming in a very trying time, and that what it looks like he is fighting against, it will not be something he also comes to do. I trust that witch hunting will not be his style, because that is very un-Gambian, as we have all known, but he's trusting that God would use him to recalibrate this country and bring it to a place where God wants it to be. And I am trusting that because it's not man, God will help us by his grace. Jesus Christ said to Peter, at a very crucial time, when Peter took his sword and cut off somebody's ear because he was angry, and Jesus told him, Peter, put your sword back, because he who uses the sword will have to live and die by it, and the sword will never leave his household. And this is a message to the military, to all the security forces: don't use your swords, because it will never, in fact, the biblical language is that it will never depart from your house. These are laws of God that we cannot break. Let there be a spirit of sportsmanship. Every sportsman knows that you win and you lose. And when you win, you celebrate. And when you lose, you go across the tennis court or somewhere, you shake hands, you concede, you hug, and you tell yourself that he played well. That is called game spirit. And that's what we are expecting to see. And for he who has won and has the mandate of the people, it means the bar has been set. So every other person is going to come to look at that bar and see how they can bring it down. But above all, I just pray that Almighty God and the Lord Jesus Christ, in mercy, grace, love, truth, and peace, will keep this nation together. Because regardless, people still fly here. They want to come and do their honeymoons. They want to come and do Christmas, because it's the most prized, precious possession we have, our friendly smiles. We don't want the smiles to become sorrows and frowns and tears, because we're loving people. So let's not blow it, because God has given us a chance. There is a hymn that says, it is well. The words are, it is well with my soul, but I say it is well with my land. And just in case you think that that's not the song to be singing now, the person that wrote that song wrote it in the midst of tragedy. He had lost his wife and children in the high seas, and he was able to look through and knew that God would make it all well. I have no doubt in my mind that God will make it well, and he has already made it well. We just need wisdom, maturity, game spirit, sportsmanship, that a winner is able to be gracious in his winning, and a loser is gracious in his losing, and they both stand together, so that at the very end of the day, when inauguration comes, if not anybody else, President Jawara will have a beaming smile on his face and know that his own labor as the father of this country has not been in vain. And that smile may be with him until his last breath. Until I come your way next week, by the grace of God, this is Pastor Forbes encouraging us and saying, let's keep our nation as one nation under God for the common good. This great God of nations that we talk about in our national anthem, he will keep us and all will be well. Let us rejoice, for the victory is the victory for Gambia. God bless us all, and good night.